Hello everyone, it is a great honor to be here. Tonight, well, today, okay, I'm gonna tell you a story, and the moral of the story is going to be the way you make money matters. The story starts between my freshman and sophomore years when I went on a work and travel program in the US, more particularly on Nantucket Island in Massachusetts. I worked as a landscaper and I mowed lawns. Now you might say it looks like a very cool job. And why not? I mean, I got to be outdoors all day long, walking on fluffy green grass. But trust me, this was no walk in the park. Just like most other work and travel jobs, this was dirty, repetitive work. Grass was my eternal companion. I had it in my shoes, in my hair, in my skin, in my... well, you get the idea. But what's more important is that this was mindless and repetitive work. We had the same 100 houses we would mow each week. I go to a particular house, I unload the machine, and I start going back and forward for 50 to 70 hours a week. Looking back at that summer, I feel as though the weeks went by really quickly in this monotonous haze of green. But at the same time, each individual day attempted to drag on for as long as possible, and it drained each strain of thought from my mind. So on one particularly hot day, I asked myself, why the heck am I doing all of this? And that's when the hypothetical other in my brain replies, the money is really good. Well, sure, the money is really good, but can't I use my brain and make money at the same time? The sun was scorching, my mouth was dry, and my back was killing me. I must find a way to get out of this predicament. I must be able to make money and use my brain. But how? What am I good at? Well, duh, genius, you're really good at math, and you have killer SAT scores. Well, sure, maybe I can give math lessons when I go back to Bulgaria, but what about... And then it dawned on me. Why not be a tutor here in the US? I was so excited at actually having an idea out of the brainless stupor I had been for the past 2 months. And moreover, it was an idea that might get me out of my unfortunate predicament. I was so excited that day, I almost mowed down the petunias. So I go back home, and the first thing I do is make these small advertisements. Am I making? Yes, I'm making the advertisements. I make these small advertisements offering SAT, TOEFL, math, and physics tutoring. And it says there on the bottom, I believe you can get the score grade that you want. But at the same time, I was terrified. Just like any entrepreneurial venture, there was so much uncertainty. I mean, look at this. Who would trust me to tutor them from just a silly little piece of paper? So I turned to my brother for advice. And you know what he said? Well, not what you might think. He said, bro, don't bother with this thing. I don't think it's going to work. I felt really terrible. I felt like I could give up right there and then. But then again, I couldn't go back to the monotonous routine. Out of sheer desperation, I rode out on my bike and I put up my little ads. 1 week, 2 weeks, nothing. Then a miracle happened. A mother wrote me and asked if I would be her 11-year-old son's math tutor. She also asked how much I charge per hour. Blimey, I hadn't thought that far ahead. So I go online and I do a little research, and it turns out that math tutors charge anywhere between $50 and $150 per hour. Now, to give you a perspective, work and travel students usually earn between 10 and 15 hours per hour. Dollars per hour. I myself was earning 17, which was amazing by itself. So you can imagine myself standing there looking at the screen at 50 to 150 and thinking, so let me get this straight. Some people earn for 1 or 2 hours in the comfort of their living rooms what I earn for an entire day of back-breaking labor. But naturally, I couldn't ask for that much money. I was a foreigner, I had no degree, and these people didn't know me. So after a lot of internal debate, I courageously decided to say $30 per hour. And they agreed. So I show up at their house for our first lesson. I knock on the door, and the mom lets me in. My heart was going to burst out of my chest. So the mom lets me in, and straight off the bat, she hands me two $20 bills. And she says, it's easier this way. So I'm standing there holding 40 instead of $30, and I think to myself, what, the ATM machine doesn't give out $10 bills? But the price never went down. I was already motivated to give it my all. So I met Wade, her son. We had our first lesson, but the examples of how they valued my work don't stop there. For example, once I went to their house, and we had to have our usual weekly lesson, but Wade wasn't there. So what happened was that his mother, upon realizing that the misunderstanding was on their part, paid me $40 for an entire lesson, even though we didn't have one. So what had happened is that I rode my bike for 10 minutes to their house, and now I was going home with a pocket full of money and wondering, how is this possible? These people showed me such respect. They really valued the work I was doing with their son. And Wade was really an amazing kid. Once I asked him, do you play any sports? Sure I do. What kind of sports? Well, all kinds of sports. Soccer? Yes. Basketball? Yes. Archery? Yes. Horseback riding? Yes. Okay. So you're a big sports person, but what about music? Musical instruments? Try me. Okay. Piano? Yes. Guitar? Yes. The tuba. I was sure I got him with the tuba. But he just stands there, looks at me, shrugs and said, yes. Needless to say, he was 11 years old, and I felt like a complete idiot. But our lessons were amazing, nevertheless. He was no math prodigy, and he sometimes got distracted. But he had perseverance. For example, at the end of every lesson, I would give him an extra hard problem to work on until our next lesson. And he would immediately start picking at it and ask me all of these questions, and I would have to bite my lip so I don't give him any hints or straight out explain everything to him. So the summer went on in this fashion. We had our lessons. I still mowed lawns 50 to 70 hours per week. But I still had that one special hour to look forward to. And it wasn't so much the extra cash. Heck, I would have done it for free. It was this incredible opportunity that these kind people were showing. So for our last lesson, out of gratitude, I made him this big origami ball. But it turns out I wasn't the only one with a surprise up my sleeve. They hand me this envelope with my name on it. And inside, there was this handwritten note. Let me read it for you. Dear Chris, I love spending time with you. You're a great help with math. Please come back next summer. Sincerely, Wade. Something truly special was happening at that moment, but before I could say anything more, they told me, take a closer look inside. So I inspect the envelope further, and I find a $100 bill. This was the best and actually the only tip I had ever received in my life. But the point is, it wasn't so much the money or what I could buy with it. This exchange of gifts was a symbol of the incredible relationship we had built over the summer. But the summer ended, and so does my story. So what does it all mean? If you remember at the beginning, I told you the moral is that the way you make money matters. Before the whole story with Wade, I did something that most work and travel students do. Say, for example, you go to the grocery store and you want to buy milk. You pick up the carton of milk, and you see that it costs $5. In the back of your head, you know you make $15 per hour. And you look at the price and the milk, and you think to yourself, oh, no, I can never buy this. It costs 20 minutes of my life. There emerges this equation between money and time with your wage as the unit of conversion. Now, this equation is perfectly true, and there's nothing bad about it. But the problem is when you start applying it to everything in your life. For example, rent means 12 hours of your life. A night out with friends means 3 hours of your life. A sandwich for lunch means 1 hour of your life, and toilet paper means 30 minutes of your life. Some work and travel students work more than 90 hours per week, and this sort of mental calculation takes over their entire lives. They start wanting to spend as less as possible, to live as less as possible, because they know what kind of torment stands behind each dollar. So what's different between that and the money I made from tutoring? After all, the money I made from tutoring was far less in total than all of the money from landscaping. The reason why that money was so much sweeter is that it was the product of my independent mind. No one gave me the idea of tutoring, no one told me to do it, and the execution from start to finish was all my own doing. I actually did it even though some of my closest people advised against it. Now, my point isn't that you should never take advice from anyone else. I'm not saying that in the very least. My point is that you shouldn't just be drifting through life and accept everything that comes your way or accept everything that you are told. Above all else, you are the captain of your ship, and it is up to you to use your ability to think and to choose for yourself the kind of job that you will love, that will keep you in contact with the people that nurture your life and make it flourish, and that pays. And it is then that you're going to make the sweetest money in the world. Thank you.